Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Hello and welcome to The Hearth, episode 1. My name is Christopher Puner.
Hi, Chris.
I'm excited to be here. Oh, who was that? Is that a Mr. Matt Hillman?
It's me, Matt Hillman. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Normally we're going to be in the future accompanied by our third Mr. Aiden Rockarts, but he had some family matters to attend to, and we wanted to go ahead and record anyway because we had set timelines and schedules and stuff. So we're just gonna kind of do it. So yeah, we're here. But it's gonna be a good kind of introductory episode. Kind of like walk you through how the show's gonna work and stuff. Kind of get a feel for it and stuff like that. Give you some information about it. But one of the things about the show is that it's going to be kind of a little bit different if you're familiar with our other podcasts like Leakcast and even Casual Cast to a degree. This show is going to be kind of like a little bit more free form. We're still going to, hit the important things like big pieces of news and stuff like that. We're going to have specific sorts of events that are going to happen during the show every single time, but it might not all be in the same order. We're not going to have section names, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. It's just going to be stream of consciousness, but in podcast form that's still useful, if that makes sense.
That's all of our podcasts.
There you go. All right. Maybe it is just all right, cool, man. Anyway, so a little bit of information about the show. The Hearth, being the name of the show, kind of just indicates that you're like, oh, maybe they're going to talk about Hearthstone. Well, yeah, I mean, we are, but we're also going to talk about World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm. Basically, this is our Warcraft podcast, because we like playing these games. And
we'll talk about Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne expansion. We'll talk about Warcraft 2.
No, I don't. No.
No? Okay.
No, Orcs and Humans, though, but not Warcraft 2.
Okay.
I've actually never played Orcs and Humans or Warcraft 2.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we should do that sometime.
Nah, fuck that.
All right, fair enough. We probably
cool.
won't talk about Warcraft 3 very much at all.
I doubt it.
If not, maybe just a little bit for the lore. That's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what the show's gonna be like. So it'll be a thing. We'll figure it out as we go along. Rome wasn't built in a day, and podcasts weren't perfect from first episode. That was you can use that. You can quote me on that.
Totally. That's Chris Puner 2020.
Great.
Because you said it in the future. What?
I did. You're right.
What the fuck am I talking about?
So we're gonna start this show off kind of like how we start off every other show. We're gonna talk about what we played this week and stuff like that. But before we get into that, I kind of want to explain what our roles are as co-hosts in this show, because we have definitive specialties, right?
I mean, I'm special.
Yes, you are. Yes, you most definitely
bud.
are. The last conversation I had with your mother when I came over and we were talking, because she hangs out with us sometimes.
Whoa, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. She was just telling me about how special you were, and I was like, haha, I know. And that was it.
Okay.
I mean, that wasn't your mom joke. Your mom's just a really nice person. I have conversations with her from time to time.
Well, I mean, do what you gotta do, Chris Puner.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and what I gotta do is ask you, Mr. Matt Hillman, what is your Warcraft specialty?
Alright, well listen, I did this before because we made another episode. The long-lost episode, the hidden episode that no one shall ever hear.
The test one?
Yeah. But basically what I'm doing here is, look, I played some World of Warcraft, alright? I raided endgame content during Siege of Orgrimmar and Mists of Pandaria. I also have been playing World of Warcraft for a couple years. I started back in Burning Crusade, but I took a nice break through Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm. So, yeah, I missed a lot of World of Warcraft. But I got really into it during Mists of Pandaria. Started playing my Shaman. I played Resto Shaman for all of Mists. When we started up in Draenor, I continued my Shaman, but that guild kind of fell apart. So we rolled Alliance characters, which was new to me, but I don't really care. So I ended up playing a Dwarf Mage. So now that Mage is also 100, but I've played pretty much every class. I have a good feel of all the classes. I know a lot of endgame content. I do some PvP, so I kind of have a good basis of World of Warcraft.
All right, jeez, dude, shut up. Holy
Oh my god,
crap.
sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
just
dude,
kidding.
it's just the rambling, am I right?
Oh,
Holy
no,
shit.
you're fine. I'm just kidding. All right. Neat. Anything
Hey,
else?
what is Frost doing?
Oh,
again?
Frost is gonna be our Hearthstone guy because he's like really into it and stuff. I mean, the two of us play it, Matt and I.
But
Frost
Frost is kind of competitive. He actually is typically higher than rank 5 every season. He's very into the competitive scene. He's doing a lot of work as far as learning about the meta decks and trying to improve himself and do arenas and stuff. He actually Snapchatted me his first 12-win arena the other day. So, yeah, it's pretty sweet. That kid
Congrats to that guy.
kid's good at the game. So
yeah,
that's good.
but again, yeah, he'll be joining us in the future. So if it seems a little light on Hearthstone, finesse. It's because he's not here.
Yeah, and we suck at Hearthstone. I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty bad.
Yeah, I get like 16, 17 every once in a
Yeah,
while.
I've been there before. I think I got like 14 once, and I was like, sweet,
what?
I'm so good.
Oh my god,
I'm
you're
so
professional. You're a professional player.
I know, right?
All right. Anyway, my role on this show is basically like kind of tying it all together. I feel like out of the three of us, I probably played the most Tears of the Storm. But I've been
I can
playing.
attest to that.
I've been playing World of Warcraft since vanilla, and I play a little bit of Hearthstone here and there. You know, while I'm going to bed or like on my lunch at work or something like that. But pretty much, I really got into like the lore and the world and the happenings of World of Warcraft and just Warcraft in general, and like how it works and stuff like that. Like I've read pretty much every single book. I've like pored over all the handbooks that came out back when the original expansions came out and stuff like that. I've played each expansion as they've come out. I did a little bit of raiding here and there, but that's not really my area of expertise. But pretty much what I'm going to be doing is making fun of Frost and Hillman for not knowing anything about any of the background knowledge of Warcraft characters.
Truth.
I believe in the test episode that we had, I asked you guys if you knew what the relationship was between Illidan and Malfurion, and neither of you guys knew that they were brothers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing there, obviously, because Illidan's like this horned beast of a man, and Malfurion is like this horned beast. So, I mean, clearly, right?
I mean, their horns have nothing to do with that.
Okay,
they
well,
were
I
both-
mean, I was
both night
going
elves.
down. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
I've got hero horns, right? I mean,
Totally.
okay.
Claws and
Nope.
blades and
Nope.
things. Close
Nope.
okay, all right.
Sure, man. Well, we'll keep trying as we go along with this show. Hopefully
Yeah.
you guys learn a little bit, maybe.
I think that was a good representation of how much lore I know. Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Well, you
pretty
called Illidan a beast of a man, and he's a night elf and a demon hunter, which is a little bit different.
Okay, he's a beast of a man, though.
He's
I mean,
also dead.
You ever done Black Temple? I mean, that raid. Let me tell you, I never did it currently, but I've run it before, and it is fun as shit. You get up there and you're like, Illidan, can I kill your warglaves? And you can drop them, and he's like, lol, nope. And I swear, it's like every week.
Okay, well, that being said, do you want to tell us about your past week and like what you've been doing?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so this week was actually kind of a lull in my normal play style. Typically, I'm doing LFRs to get some Arbigator stones because that's some of the end game content right now. Because I'm still not done with that legendary quest, working my way up. But this week I actually was gone most of the weekend, so when I got back, Chris here came over and we decided we were going to roll some druids. So we had 3 Night Elf druids, all with virtually the same name, and Chris decided he was going to go feral. Nick was going to play some Guardian Druid, and I was going to play Resto, so that we could do some dungeons and instant queues, you know, all that good stuff. So.
Nick being a mutual friend from our other shows.
Yeah, King Lard out. People know who he is. So yeah, we did some of that. That was pretty cool. And then today I leveled a monk a little bit because I actually have not played a monk up to a higher level. I've looked into monks before, and I think they're pretty cool. So I was going to level this one. That's like 20 something. I just started today. So yeah, that's pretty much how my week is going. I haven't played a lot of Hearthstone, which is unfortunate because I probably got like 3 quests I got to do. So I got to get on that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. But how was your week, Chris?
My week was pretty similar. I played quite a bit of Heroes of the Storm. I'm still loving Kael'thas. He's like my first guy. I'm like deciding that I want to like main.
Yeah.
I love him. He's awesome. He's
Dude,
also
that
extremely
snare
easy
is,
to
like,
play.
crazy.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Brand from League of Legends.
Yeah. You mean because of the whole like AOE fire thing?
Yeah. And he's got a snare, and Brand has a stun and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, thematically, I suppose they are similar, but Kael'thas is way fucking cooler than Brand, in my opinion. Kael'thas also happens to be my favorite World of Warcraft character from the lore. Man, that might probably have something to do with it, me being able to look past some of his flaws, like him being really easy to play. I wish he was more
Could be why you dropped like $300 on it.
I dropped $10 on him.
Oh, okay, $10. Yeah, that's
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. In World of Warcraft, I've been doing stuff on my max level Holy Paladin I'm leveling. Matt Hillman pointed out that I wasn't using half the spells I should be using. We did a raid earlier today, and the raid leader was like, "Dude, you're just not pulling the numbers." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't been doing anything different than what I normally do. And Matt's like, yeah, you're like, you're shit right now. What are you doing? Was basically the conversation that we had.
I mean, okay, if anybody's played an endgame Holy Paladin, or if anyone's played Paladin, period, Avenging Wrath is a really important spell that Chris didn't realize existed. There's a bunch of Paladins out there just face palming right now. I'm telling you. Avenging Wrath is important. But yeah, basically he was just talking about healing and the importance of knowing your cooldowns and being able to use them at the proper time in the fight. But yeah, we can talk about more of that. Hey, I found out something I can do for Don't Be a Scrub, so we'll get there.
Okay. All right. Well, don't be a scrub like Chris.
Yeah, dude.
Done.
Don't be a scrub like Chris. New title for that section.
Okay, perfect. So in Hearthstone, I'm only one class away from finishing up my basic cards. Which is a big deal for me because it's taken me forever. It's Warrior, and I have 18 out of 20.
Dude, play some Patron Warrior. It's easy.
Yeah, but like the thing is like I only play a certain number of games, right? I only have time for a certain number of games because I play it as a filler game. Like, How long is this poop gonna be? Is this feel like it's gonna be a long one? All right, I'll play Warlock. If it feels like it's gonna be like a really short poop, I should probably play Rogue and like just go all in. You know what I mean?
Or Hunter face.
Yeah, Hunter just set a timer on that match after turn 2. Warrior just has never showed up in like my daily quests, and I've never really had a want to play them. And plus, I put Grim Patron in a Warlock deck, and that's been interesting.
How do you activate it?
Mortal Coil.
Okay, no, you're bad. Get out.
I know. I just wanted to try it. It's trash. But
God
that's okay.
Damn it, Chris.
That's okay. Look, man, play me in Hearthstone, and I'll play my Paladin Stealth OTK deck. That if you throw a taunt on the field, I lose.
Okay. Don't worry, I'll play my Druid deck. It'll be fine.
Okay, great. Awesome.
I don't have any taunts in that deck, right?
Speaking of taunts, this would be a good time to talk about Blizzard kind of taunting us about all these flying changes and stuff, and then kind of pulling the rug out from underneath themselves and us at the same time. And nobody knows really what's going on right now with that. So I'm really hoping you could fill me in, Mr. Hillman, what the dealio is.
Yeah, let me preface this with a little story. So about 3 weeks ago or so, Blizzard made this post, and they basically were saying, hey, a lot of people are saying they like the fact that you cannot fly in Draenor. A lot of people have been kind of under this impression that when I hit max level, I've experienced the content and I should be able to fly. In Draenor, that wasn't the case. Basically, when you hit max level, you continue to run around on your ground mounts, and there really isn't a way to go and fly around Draenor. They've always thought that there was going to be a way, but then people started saying it was fun. People liked that you couldn't fly in Draenor. There were certain things that made the classic World of Warcraft very difficult, and one of them was if you wanted to go somewhere and you didn't know how to get there, you had to figure out how to get there. You couldn't just fly up there and say, okay, I'm here. It also makes for a really bad questing experience when you can just fly into the middle of a bunch of people, kill the one guy you need to kill, and fly out. Yeah. So they discussed that a long time, and they said, you know what? I don't think we're going to introduce flying at all in Draenor. And everybody was like, "What? We can't fly in Draenor ever?" and kind of freaked out. And so recently,
Well, I wouldn't say everybody. I think
okay.
just yeah, certain people that like just can't get over the fact, or like hanging on the edge of like, oh, they said maybe. I'll just kind of hang out. I'll just sit in a garrison, do stuff.
Yeah,
Basically. Like, yeah, and now they're like freaking out because they feel like they've wasted a lot of time waiting for something that they feel like they were kind of promised but really weren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to be fair, Blizzard initially had said that they were going to introduce flying in Draenor, and that they were just waiting for the right time. And
well, the right time was never. So,
well, they did change it. They came out with an official post and they said there will be flying in Draenor. The only thing is, they decided that they were going to include flying in Draenor with a achievement that you need to obtain so that you can actually fly in Draenor. If you haven't looked at any of the subreddit posts or any of the official Blizzard posts, basically the way it's going to work is when Tanaan Jungle comes out in 6.2, which is what we're talking about, the next patch will include Tanaan Jungle, and you will have to earn revered reputation with all 3 factions in Tanaan Jungle. That is one of the requirements to obtain flying in Draenor. The other is Master Treasure Hunter, discover 100 treasures of Draenor, excluding Tanaan Jungle. If you don't know what this is, basically when you complete an area in Draenor, you are allowed to purchase a treasure map. I think there's an NPC in Ashran to
it's in Arakoa, right next to the archaeology trainer.
Yeah. Basically, you just run around and you find these treasures. And when you find the treasure, it can be anything from a couple garrison resources or some gold to actual pieces of armor that can help you. That will be one of the achievements. And then the last achievement will be item level army account wide, which is raise 10 followers item levels to 650. If you can get 10 followers up to item level 650, again, that's account wide, so it can be on multiple different characters. You will unlock that achievement. Once you have all 3 of those achievements, then you will unlock Draenor Pathfinder, which is complete the Draenor achievements, listed below, which are those. You actually get a mount for doing that. It is the
flying mount.
Yeah, flying mount. The Soaring Sky Terror, which actually looks pretty cool. It's a Rylok. If you know what those are, it's basically a model that they use. It's red and yellow. It is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
And so you'll unlock that, and then you will also unlock Draenor Flying in an upcoming patch. So basically, a bunch of people have started to complete these achievements now, which you can do. The only one you won't be able to do is the Tanaan Diplomat, which is earning the revered reputations. All of those three,
I mean, that's about it.
Right, yeah, that's in Tanaan Jungle, so you have to wait until the actual 6.2 release to get that. So that's pretty exciting. Speaking of Tanaan Jungle, that is the new area that is opening up in 6.2. Everyone's pretty excited about that. It also comes with the new raid, which is Hellfire. I almost said Peninsula, but that's not
Citadel.
Right. Citadel, thank you. Hellfire Citadel, which will officially be the last raid of Draenor. So once that's all closed up, then we'll have another expansion. So I'm pretty excited for that too, because honestly, their model, the way they've been doing it, they released 2 new races in Burning Crusade, and then they released Death Knights in Wrath of the Lich King, and then they skipped over Cataclysm, and then in Pandaria they released Pandas and Monk, so they had a new race and a new class, and then in this one they didn't release any. So I think, and this is just speculation, that the next expansion is going to give us either a race or a class or both. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Hopefully both. Although, and we should come back to this because I'd love to speculate with you about this because this is my favorite conversation. But before we even think about moving forward, 6.2 with the Tanaan Jungle also comes with a really cool thing called the Shipyard. It's going to be kind of an additional thing for you to do in your garrison for those of you that are sitting on, your max 10k resources and you're like, well, I have level 3 everything. I don't know what to do. So what you can do is that there's the shipyard thing. In order to unlock Tanan Jungle, because it's going to be a gated release, right? You're not going to be just able to go into Tanan Jungle. You need to earn it. You need to build something called the shipyard, and then you control a whole like mass of ships. They have these models on this great preview that they put out: Alliance and Horde destroyers, submarines, carriers, battleships, transports. It looks wicked fucking cool. And well, there's some like submarines move silently underwater, sneaking up on unsuspecting ships. Destroyers counter submarines with depth charges. Battleships fire long-range artillery to sink enemies such as destroyers, and carriers deploy bombers to attack battleships from the air. It looks really, really awesome. You can choose to have your ships manned by like different races or get different bonuses and stuff like that. If you're interested in this, I'm not going to bore you with every single last detail. Just know that it's awesome, and you can go read more about it on the preview, which is on their front page. I'll also post a link in the show notes for this episode.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, I'm just really, really excited for this patch. And then give me a month after the patch comes out, and then I'll be talking about the next expansion, like like you just were. But let's get back, because I want to speculate just a little bit with you. Let's not spend too much
hold on
time.
1 second. Before we get to that, there also has been a release of the Tier 18 model for gear, as well as Season 2 for Warlords PvP. So all of those sets are actually up on Wowhead is where I'm looking at them. But it was an official post by Blizzard. You can go take a look at them. I'm pretty excited for some of this gear because it looks pretty cool. But mostly I just want to do the Hellfire. You know, that's going to be fun. Hellfire Citadel is going to be great.
I'm interested to see who the main villain is going to be. And like the story that's involved with that. And then I'll have it ruined for me through LFR, and it won't feel like I did much, but
yeah. Well, I mean, we could always just, gear up on BlackRock and then head on over there once we're ready for normals.
But the thing is I, as much as I want to do progression, I still really want to do LFR for, I mean, not only just free loot, basically, but also I want to just make sure that I experience all of it while it's current.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To some degree, even if it's pretty much just like a bystander that's throwing heals on people every once in a while.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. So Matt Hillman, question for you.
Yeah.
Let's just assume. Oh, okay. Maybe we should start with, what do you think the new setting is going to be for this upcoming expansion?
All right. So I was thinking about this today. I think, again, I like to look at the past and try to draw conclusions based on that. So the first couple expansions are really hard to say because we were experiencing new areas, right? In Cataclysm, they went back to the original zones and they redid those. So from a let's improve our game perspective, they were improving all the old zones to make the models better and all that other stuff. And then they had Pandaria, right? So we discovered a new area. And then they went to Draenor, where they kind of redid the Burning Crusade. Obviously, the Burning Crusade is still there. You can still go to Outlands. But now you can also go to Draenor, which is, in essence, the exact same area, just redone new models and everything. So, my opinion is that with this next expansion, it'll be something along the lines of Pandaria, where we go to a brand new area that we've never seen before. And I'm thinking they're going to introduce a brand new class, so everybody can play a new class. I don't know what kind of lore base that has, but I'm hoping that we see a brand new area, and then possibly for the expansion after that, going back and doing Lich King or something. I don't know.
Well,
that's just
okay. Well, the cool thing about the Lich King thing is if they do go back and they redo that area, it's gonna be Bolvar now, right? Because he took the throne, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the new Lich King, and he's like in stasis right now, like Arthas was for a while. But eventually, Bolvar will reawaken, and he is the Lich King. And we don't know what's going on with that, because we don't know if he's getting corrupted or not, because he was burned with Dragonfire, because remember, he was all like burnt up and shit.
Right,
like, yeah. We don't know what sort of effect. And that's a conversation probably for another time. Maybe a lore talk, I suppose, about Bolvar, because fucking Bolvar is awesome. Holy shit. Anyway.
That's a Hearthstone card.
Man,
we could do it.
He was on fire.
Literally.
He was talking and he put shit on his head. It was great. Anyway,
it was awesome.
It was really great. But so I've been waiting for a while for them to put out an expansion that tackles the Emerald Dream.
Interesting.
And
And I
was,
say interesting because I have absolutely no idea what that is. Welcome to Matt Hillman and Lore.
What am I mean, this is kind of it's helpful
Remember,
because then
remember when everybody listening facepalmed when I said you didn't use Avenging Wrath as a level 100 paladin?
Yeah.
Everyone just facepalmed at me now.
It's all right. It's okay. That's all right. Here's a brief summary. We'll come back to this on another episode, probably. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So there's a place called the Emerald Dream, which you can like slip into and out of, like based on meditation stuff like that. It's really tied to nature and stuff like that. The Green Dragonflight has a lot to do with that, right? Ysera has a
Another
lot.
druid type class.
Maybe that would be the thing, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are people that are trapped in the Emerald Dream. Like Ysera was like half there for a while. You know how there was always like those dragons, those green dragons that were like kind of see through, and you're like, what the fuck is going on with those guys?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're like trapped in the Emerald Dream.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you stay there too long, you can't like leave. It's like an animorph that stays in his animal form too long, just like that actually.
Okay.
All right, well, just pretend like you know what animorphs are, so I don't
Yes,
have to go
that
back and
reference.
explain that one.
Totally.
Great. All right. So yeah, that's the Emerald Dream. I think I've been waiting for them to go back for a while, and Draenor was kind of a weird thing for me because I didn't really like it at first because I thought that they were just kind of going back and not ruining, but redoing and therefore diminishing the effect of what was really, really good, important canon story for me. Because a lot of the books are around the original Dark Portal, stuff like that, you know. And I always thought it was already kind of weird because it's from a parallel universe, you know. A different dimension. They come from a different dimension already, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird in a fantasy setting. This is really sci-fi, but I'm into it. I get it. And now they're doing parallel alternate universe stuff with different timelines, and I'm like, I wasn't really sure. I'm like, you might have lost me. But now I'm in. You know, it's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
It was still overall a curveball for me. I think places that we haven't gone to are Undermine. Which is the Goblin place. We haven't gone to Emerald Dream yet. And then there's also a chance that we go to the Elemental Planes.
Okay.
Because all the elements come from different planes, right?
Totally.
They do. Fucking goddamn.
I knew that. Dude, I know that. Come on. Yeah, I play a shaman. What?
We've seen pieces of them and stuff like that. Like there's a couple of like instances where you see like elements of air and you're like, oh, this seems like this is a place where they came from. It kind of is, but it's kind of not. Yeah, I think that's a place that we might go. As far as classes though, I really want to see a bard. Really, really, really want to see a bard.
What, like Zelda Ocarina of Time?
No, like classic
like
RPG style. Like they sing and do songs and inspire people and just like buff people. It's like a buffing class.
Okay. I mean, they would have to kind of redo all of the classes though, because everybody buffs everybody else. Like current content.
But these are like
buffs
inspiring things. Like they would be 30-second like shouts and crap. You know, like they would have to like combo like certain chord progressions and stuff. Not like a rhythm game, but like they're comboing and the rotations would be different types of songs, different types of situations, right? Like that. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting because there's no class like that. So it would either have to heal, do damage, or tank, right? I mean, that's the format that Blizzard has decided to go with. So if we were to go a different route with something like a bard, who is more of a support class, but not really a healer, you're going to have to somehow integrate that so that it's necessary. Otherwise, nobody's going to play it.
Each class and every single spec also has to be able to solo to some degree, right?
Right.
So that would be probably a design challenge for them. I don't know. I don't really know. I like rack my brain about this sort of stuff, about what sort of class I could go with, and the Death Knight seemed like a very obvious sort of choice. But like we don't really know what else there could be out there for this. I
think it's pretty related to where they decide to take us. You know,
yeah, I guess.
As far as like the actual content of the next expansion, the thing is, when you add another class, you have to make sure that it's not overpowered so that people don't just play that, and you can't have it be underpowered so that nobody plays it. I feel maybe Death Knights were kind of overpowered when they were released, and a lot of people play Death Knight still, which is good. I think they've integrated Death Knight a lot. I feel like Monk is probably on the lower tier. Monk is not played very often, and I think it's just because it's kind of just a worse druid. You know, the healing isn't as good as druid healing. The tanking isn't as good as druid tanking, but that's debatable. That one's, you could say it. I've seen some really, really good Windwalker monks do a lot of DPS, but overall, not the top DPS in the game. So it's kind of like there's really no good choice. If you're going to play monk, it's pretty much just an alt. You know, you can't really main it. But some people do. Some people do. Some people make it work. But I think that class is just a little underpowered right now, and that's why you don't see a whole lot of it in endgame.
So the important question to ask, right, when we're trying to figure out this class question is ask yourself, what is left on the table, right? Because there's like Death Knight was left on the table. It was in the lore. It made a lot of sense. We get it, right? But what is left? And then we're looking at really obscure things. There are things that are like redundant, like High Priestess, and you're like, no. Archmage, obviously not. We already that would be so weird with mages. And then High Priestess with Priest, like how's it going to be different? And then we're left with things that are kind of like sideways movements, which you thought was going to be the case with Death Knights and Paladins, but really weren't, right? Like Demon Hunter. And how close
a lot of
that
people
is.
think that there should be some sort of dedicated necromancer class.
Like a lich?
I mean, I guess. Kind of like Demon Lock, but not Demon Lock. You know, a dedicated summoning sort of class.
I suppose. Except that Demon Lock already has that, like...
Right, exactly.
Unlock.
But the thing is, I mean, if you go Demon when you're playing Warlock, that's what your primary function is. And I haven't played Warlock, so I don't really know. Right. But the primary thing would be to, you know, have your minions go out there and do your work for you, kind of like Beastmaster Hunter. Sure. Well, if you were playing more like, I don't know, necromancy kind of class, then it would be along those same lines, but something like you're actually controlling those instead of your own character, that sort of thing. Right. I think that would be interesting maybe, but I don't know how they would really work it in.
I don't know. But what I do know is that I bet Naga will be one of the new playable races.
God, please no.
I really hope so. I really, really hope so.
God, no. And
they just put one boot on the end of their tails. Just one little boot.
Oh my god.
That'd be great. But people
I would
have been asking
much rather
for
have Murlocs running around playing in this game than fucking Nagas.
And the Arakoa. I would love to be an Arakoa.
No, see, I don't think that's really going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
Because all of those races are always neutral, right? I think they have to come up with a new race.
I mean, but they had new races that they introduced with Pandaria, right? They had those fish guys and the Hosen. What were the fish guys? What were they called? Oh Lord! Oh man, the little guppies.
What?
Whatever.
Fish guys.
Yeah, the fish guys for the Alliance, the big tall fish guys. They were originally Murlocs, but then they came to Pandaria, and the magic inherent in the Pandarian land were like whatever.
Yeah, that's right. I remember those guys.
Oh, what were they called? Oh, I'm gonna die. Anyway, so enough speculation, I suppose. Let's move on to other things in the news that are important, like Hearthstone patch 2.7. This is going to be hype as balls because this is going to bring out a new thing called the Tavern Brawls, which is going to be kind of like a really new sort of way. You know how there's that fourth button at the bottom of your main screen, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right,
there's like this empty space below Arena.
Well, that empty space is about to get filled like 5 out of the 7 days a week with a button called Tavern Brawl, right? So each week it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to go head to head versus another player and using exciting unique rules is what they say. So it's going to be like, 1 week it says it might be a feature preset deck, while another one it might be like, here, build a deck, but with these sort of guidelines, like these minions are more powerful this week, or you can only use specific types of cards, or you can pick anything, like you're a mage, but you can use hunter class cards. Like, it'll break the meta, but just for like 5 days, whatever, it's not a big deal. It's a specific sort of thing. So they're going to come up with a new one like every single week. It's going to be a lot of fun. In order to access this, you have to have a level 20 hero in order to use it. Their reasoning, they say, is because you have to toughen up before you go in there, I guess. Enter in the phrase, what they say. You can brawl with strangers or friends. It'll be a lot of fun. There's going to be another button, that is next to the challenge button. You can also choose Tavern Brawl Challenge. It's going to be great. It says that Tavern Brawls are going to arrive mid-June. and then onward and upward from there. And then it's going to have free admission while the new when the new mode comes out right away. But I think it's going to be kind of like an arena sort of thing where you have to like buy to get in eventually. And then as far as the launch celebration during the first week, you can earn a free card pack when you win your first game. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be really, really great. Yeah. Also in 6.2, Matt Hillman, did you see the new heroes that they're going to have, these new skins?
I did. I'm looking at them right now. And look, when we say new heroes, we're like, what, new heroes? We can play other things? No. Sorry, guys. These are basically hero skins. So if you really love Hunter, but you hate Rexxar, that's okay. They're giving you another option. You can play Illyria Windrunner. Or, if you don't want to play Janna as Mage, I don't know why you would want to play anyone else. I mean, Janna's badass. But you can pick Medivh if you'd like. And then the last one is Magni Bronzebeard, who is a paladin?
He's a warrior.
Warrior. I know.
That's why he's a warrior.
About lore.
That's why he's going to be a warrior hero, dude.
I don't know. I'm just looking. I'm just looking at the pictures. That's all.
Yes. Well, okay. So Medivh was kind of a warlock for a while, but he's also a mage. And Illyria is obviously a hunter, and Magni is a warrior. Look at him dual wielding. Paladins can't dual wield, dude. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, totally. That's what I said.
But you do. Okay, you don't know lore, but you do know WoW. You know paladins can't dual wield.
Okay, well the other one looks kind of like an offhand. Okay, I'm sorry.
Looks like an offhand weapon.
An offhand weapon. Yeah, that's what I said. Just go fuck yourself, all right?
Fair enough. And then they're releasing some cool card backs that are pretty neat or whatever. It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's some spoilers on here, like Golmag costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken, and he costs 50, but he's a 20/20, so it's kind of like interesting. Oh, these are possible brawl specific cards, tavern brawl cards.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's another one here called Gar. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 elemental with taunt. He's a 5/8 for. He's a 4/8 for 5. And then there's Lucifron, which is 4/7 for 4. Battlecry casts corruption on all other minions. Don't know what that is, but that's okay because these are possible things. It's all up in the air.
I feel like there is one thing that they state when they're talking about the new heroes thing.
Yeah.
Word for word, keep in mind the new heroes do not add new cards to your collection, change the class's hero power, and are not considered new classes. So they're really just skins. Like, all in all, nothing's really going to change.
Correct, yeah. And, if you got some money or, you just don't want to be...
I believe it's $10 for a new skin.
Yeah, I don't know. Then you can pick up one of these skins, and honestly, they look pretty cool. So it's kind of like... I could see it,
I'm not sure if it's worth it.
I don't think I'm going to do it, but I can see it.
I feel like if I play a couple of games against Illyria and I get just as mad as the games when I play against Rexxar, I feel like it'll be it'll be kind of like a misnomer for me. But if I'm playing a game as Rexxar and I'm wrecking somebody and they're getting mad at me, I kind of want to have a new face every once in a while. Plus, Illyria is just a really cool character I
think the Medivh looks really, really good. The way that they drew him here
Medivh looks ridiculous.
What do you mean? He looks awesome.
His armor is just weird. I really just can't get into Medivh's whole aesthetic. I don't know why.
But to be fair, you have to compare it to the current Janna art.
The current Janna art's awesome. Janna's amazing.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's very, very different. That's what I think is so cool about it.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right. But yeah, these are the only 3 that they've announced so far. But why would they not announce?
Yeah, I'm
new
under the
skins
impression they're going to give out 9. At some point, there's going to be 6 more that are going to go along with this.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Matt Hillman. Speaking of speculation, what do you think they're going to come out with the Death Knight Hearthstone class?
2020.
All right. Okay, there we go. I'm all in on that one. No, I'm all in on the whole 2020 thing. Let's just go with that.
How about #soon?
Okay, that works. TM Blizzard.
Yes, soon TM.
Great. All right. Since Frost is not here to fill us in on the Hearthstone competitive scene, I'm going to assume nothing happened. No,
there's actually a tournament going on right now.
Oh, there is? Do you know what the name of the tournament is?
I do not. I know that I was watching something that Trump was doing, and he's in it, and he's in the top 8 or something like that. Or maybe it just ended. I don't really know. See, this is the reason I'm not the Hearthstone guy. I'm thinking that at some point there was a tournament, or there is, and will be, possibly, and somebody's going to win some money with probably Paladin, because Paladin's broken right now.
You're right. That's why I love it. That's why I play it in World of Warcraft, hoping that it'll rub off on my WoW character, right?
It doesn't work that way.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Matt Hellman, speaking of my WoW character, do you have
Yeah.
any advice for me to not suck?
Chris, don't be a scrub.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I just want to talk a little bit about World of Warcraft and tell you people how to not be a scrub. Here's a few things that you should do if you're just starting World of Warcraft and you just hit level 100 and you're like, look, I just hit 100. What do I do? The first thing you should do is gear up. You can do all of these things at the exact same time. I'm ordering them in importance. So the first thing you need to do is gear up. Second thing you need to do is get your garrison going, because that is a big part of this expansion. If you don't get your garrison going, you're going to fall behind, because it's actually really necessary for a lot of things. And it also will help you gear up in the end. And then you also need to learn how to play your class. I think that's the most important thing. The problem is a lot of people, especially with heirlooms and things like that, will level to 100 and still not really have experienced their class to the fullest. This is not
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not directed at you, Chris, even though it kind of sounds like it is. You're really not bad at Paladin. The thing is, there are subtleties in every class, and the only thing you can do to learn these subtleties is to play your class. You have to actually...
In my defense, and for the defense of people out there that are listening, they're like, I really relate to Chris, and I'll be like, I relate to you too, buddy. It's because, like, when we were leveling up, there were spells that read into our spell bar and stuff, and then we were like in the middle of instances, and we were leveling up twice per instance, and like spells sneak into our spell book, and we don't see them because they don't drop on our bar when there's no room anymore. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like Avenging Wrath just snuck past me completely. I had no idea. And then we're like looking at my spell book, and you mentioned this thing, and I opened it up and I tabbed like the last page, thinking that's where it would be, right? And they're like, nah, it's on the first page. It's the first spell. I'm like, mother.
It's the very first spell for paladins. Yes.
I had no idea this was here.
Okay, well, look. If you're level 100 and you haven't opened your spellbook in a while, do it. I think that every single person who's level 100 should know absolutely every single spell that their class can do. I currently play a mage. I have played all 3 specializations of mage. I know how to play fire even though I don't play it in endgame. I play frost in PvP. I play arcane in PvE. And I know every single spell that mages can do. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because if you don't know every single spell your class can do, you may be missing something. And it may be something as important as a 3-minute cooldown. In endgame rating, 3-minute cooldowns are the cooldowns that you use every 3 minutes if you're a DPS. I'm going to preface that. If you're a healer, that might not be the case. If you're a tank, it's almost definitely not the case. But if you're a DPS, those are your cooldowns that you want to use every 3 minutes. Same goes for your 2-minute cooldowns. Those are almost always used on cooldown. A lot of times, if you're trying to maximize your DPS and you're going into raids and you're consistently low or you're consistently in the middle of the DPS and you say, my gear score is high, but I just can't DPS correctly, one thing you might be missing is a spell. You're not using something that Icy Veins has not told you to use. Primarily, Icy Veins, if people use it, what they're using it for is to learn their rotation. If you learn your rotation from Icy Veins, chances are you're reading the first half of the article, because the other half you're like, I don't know, that's just other stuff, I don't need to read that. The reason you're missing Avenging Wrath if you're playing Holy Paladin is because it talks about it at the bottom of the Icy Veins page. I don't know this for sure, I'm just going off of what I already know. I played Shaman for like 2 full years, and it took me probably a year to figure out that changing your talents depending on the boss is important. It's those little subtleties that you really don't pick up, and those are what make you a good player at World of Warcraft. If you can handle the subtleties of your class, then you will be able to just push your DPS a little bit higher, or just improve your healing a little bit. Or a lot. It's those things that really matter. And healing is totally different from DPS. If you're DPS, chances are you're not worried about mana, but it depends on what class you're playing. Chances are you're not really all that worried about other people's health bars because you don't care. You're worried about your own health bar.
As you should be. And stop standing on the fucking spears.
And please don't get hit by the spears. Yes. That's mechanics.
I feel like
but
we have to talk about that really quick today because we were going in. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, except I'm totally interrupting.
That's fine. Go for it.
All right, so today we're doing Beastmaster because we're trying to get, and that's in Black Rough Foundry. If you don't know what that fight is, it's a dude. He's got 3 pets and he rides around and he's a big dick. No, and he throughout the fight he throws big spears in the air, and then they fall down after a short indication, and they'll pin you to the ground. Then you have to TPS the spears if we can stay back up and stuff like that. Anyway, standing there waiting for the boss, us and our friend Magnetitan, who we'll probably frequently talk about on this show because he plays WoW with us a lot. You also know him from an upcoming podcast that's going to be the community podcast for Warfinch Media, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, and Matt Hillman explained the fight as don't stand in stuff. Chris, you gotta heal stuff. Tank really has a lot of stuff to do with this fight. Make sure that you focus on the ads. Don't worry about the spears. If you get caught by a spear, you're a noob, right? All right, so we're okay, fine. We go in there. It's great. So he throws the first 2 spears, and these spears are supposed to go in completely 2 different directions. So they spread out and hit as many people as possible. That's the mechanic. I didn't see the indication for the first one because an LFR is a lot longer. We were doing normal, and I get pinned by 2 spears on the first throw, and Matt loses his shit.
First thing I said was, "Don't get hit by the spears." And what do? You got hit by the fucking spears.
2 of them.
It's
I apologize.
This motherfucker.
I apologize.
No. But mechanics are important, but that's for rating. What I'm talking about right now is if you're level 100 and you're trying to maximize your DPS, there's something called min-maxing. That has to do with gear score, and certain types of gear is better than other types, even if it's the same score. A lot of this has to do with stat priority, that sort of thing. You really want to look into that. That's important. But knowing your class is way more important. If you know your class and you have a crappy gear score, you will still be able to pull off decent DPS or good healing if you know what you're doing. And that's the most important thing. A lot of times you see people who are LFR people, and they run into LFR and they sit there and they get their LFR done for the week and they log off. And that's fine. If you want to be that person, that's fine. But if you're trying to progress through the game and trying to do more endgame content, really the most important thing, and I do this all the time, go to a training dummy, see how much DPS you can do. Or if you're a healer, heal yourself. I do it all the time on my shaman. I'm like, I wonder how high I can crit, and I see. But that's the thing. If you're not constantly trying to improve your own playstyle, then you're going to be one of those people who falls into the middle of the DPS or into the bottom, or gets kicked out of raids because you're not healing enough. That's how it happens. I mean, I don't mean to bring that up as an example, but it's a great example.
It's a good example. You're
because it's happened to me.
Right.
I've had that conversation with my raid leader before. It doesn't happen anymore because we don't raid, which sucks. But he basically sat me down. He's like, all right, what are you doing wrong? And he doesn't play shaman, right? So he's a death knight. He's like, I don't know what you're doing wrong, but what are you doing wrong? And I didn't know. So he's like, figure it out. Well, there are those little things that you need to basically just look around and figure out on your own. Icy Veins is good. YouTube videos are good. Help yourself get to that end game point. But everyone heals differently. Everyone tanks differently. Everyone DPSs differently. And so if you're going to play an end game build, you need to learn your class, and the best way to do that is to practice. Read all of your spells first. Make sure you're using all the proper spells, and then practice your rotation. That's really, really important.
One of the things that, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but coming from me who didn't know he had some of these spells that he's using, I was pretty confident that I was using all the right spells at the time of doing this, and I still do this. You should treat LFR like it's the real deal.
You should, yes.
You should practice like you perform, as they used to say. For us, like when we did musicals and stuff, growing up, it's like you should not just treat LFR as blow off. You should use it as an opportunity to practice in places where people aren't going to get mad at you and kick you out for lower healing. You should learn how to do stuff like that, because not all of us have target dummies. You know what I mean? Some of us aren't TPS classes. We have to heal. And tanks have to trade stacks and stuff like that. And then we have to do some other things. Use LFR. It's brilliant for that.
Yeah. And if you have Recount, you should use Recount. I know there are other ones out there, but basically you need something that is going to tell you how much damage you're doing or how much healing you're doing. A lot of people will think, I don't really want that because I don't want to have to compare myself to other people. Well, the problem is people are going to compare you to them, and other people are going to use Recount or use whatever add-on they use to check the meters and see who's at the bottom. And today I was in a raid that I probably was not geared for. Chris and I were in that raid together, and he got kicked out, and I didn't. I don't think we were geared for that raid, but I ended up pulling enough DPS that it went unnoticed. And that's, I don't want to say that that's what you should be going for, but that's one of the things. Like,
yeah, you should aim to outperform your means.
You should definitely be trying to do better than everyone else around you, no matter what, because that is the best way to play this game. When you go into LFR and you pull consistently first DPS, it feels great. It feels amazing. And you don't have to be heroic geared to do that. You can be heroic geared, and then you probably will pull top DPS, but then it's not impressive. If you go in there and you have 650 item level and you're doing Black Rock Foundry and you're doing LFR, and you pull top DPS with other people who are heroic geared, that feels great. Because you know your class. And like you said, it's a great place to practice. Healing is a totally different subject. I've gone back and forth with healing on whether or not you should be using meters. If you get through the fight and nobody dies, you did your job. The thing is, if you go through the fight and you did your job, but other people did your job then better than you, or just straight up did your job for you, then yeah, you should reevaluate. And it's a lot of things, a lot of different things. I mean, if you're a tank, it's all mechanics. So every single situation is different, but from a purely DPS perspective, if you want to improve your rotation, read every single spell in your spellbook and see what it does. If you don't know if it's good or not, try using it. See if it improves your rotation, because it might. And that's what training dummies are for. Go to a training dummy and see, hey, if I throw this into my rotation, will it help? And a lot of times it will, and a lot of times it won't. I mean, there are definitely spells that you don't need. What am I going to use Frostfire Bolt for as an arcane mage? I have no reason to cast it because it's kind of a waste of time, and that's important that I know that. You know, I have Frostfire Bolt. Can I use it? Yeah, but I won't because I don't think that it fits into my rotation well. And that's the important thing. How can you do the most damage in the least amount of time? That's the thing. And so when it comes to learning your class, read all of your spells, figure it out. There are plenty of good guides out there. Go read them. But again, it's important to know how you do the most damage. And that has a lot to do with gear score and things and min-maxing, which we can talk about on another podcast.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure.
I needed that pep talk. I don't know about you listening at home, but I definitely did, because Avenging Wrath...
Don't worry. Oh, hey, boy. You and me can talk about this again, because I can help you out with healing. Healing is a totally different subject, so we'll talk about it.
And that's like a long lost love of yours. So.
Oh please! Yes. I still heal whenever I possibly can. Okay. I have a holy paladin who's level 80. I have a level 100 shaman. I have a druid that I'm leveling right now. I'm leveling a monk that I'm probably gonna have a healer. Like, I just love healing. That's all.
Yeah. Well, speaking of paladins, our card of the week, our Hearthstone card of the week this week, which we're going to be doing every single week, is no other than a Tyrian Forge Raid.
Right, and this would normally be Frost's time to shine here, but I'm going to take over.
Go for it.
I will as soon as I pull up the card. I don't have his flavor text, which is my bad because I was not prepared. But Tyrian Forge Ring is an 8 mana, 6/6. He has Divine Shield, Taunt, and Death Rattle equip a 5/3 Ashbringer. Let's talk about this card. Okay, it's a Paladin-only legendary. The main reason you would play this is because it's good in all circumstances ever. So yeah, play it. If you own this card, you should use it. Tyrian Forge Ring, the reason this card is so good is because it's sticky as hell, and it has Taunt. Divine Shield and Taunt together work really, really nicely. And because he's a 6/6, it's really hard to get through. But he's even more sticky because when you kill him, you equip a 5/3 weapon, which is ridiculous. 15 damage on top of all of that. The downsides, it's a great silence target. I mean, it gets silenced whenever it possibly can because it's way too strong. polymorph, I mean, obviously, if you're playing against a mage, you need to make sure the mage doesn't have anything like that. But overall, just a great card. If you ever see this card in Arena, you should take it. You should take it. Because this is probably one of the best Arena cards in the game. Legendaries are always paired, so you're probably going to find 2 other legendaries. I can't think of a better legendary if you're playing Paladin. Can't think of one. I don't think there is one. You just take Tyrion. He's very, very good.
Cool. So
I don't really know what else to say. I mean, yeah, he's good in everything.
So here we're gonna play a little bit of a game every single week here on the Hearth, where Frost and Matt Hillman tried to piece together little bits of what they think the importance of this card is, like maybe a little bit of backstory, like what they can put together from what the effect of the card is, whatever the flavor text is, maybe what they've seen in passing, in World of Warcraft for either of them, yada yada.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell them that they're wrong, and I'm going to explain what the actual story is really quick.
Yeah, so I just found the flavor text. If you haven't heard the Tyrion Forging theme song, it's because it doesn't exist.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, why is that the flavor text?
I don't know. I mean, well, maybe a little bit. He's kind of a superhero.
Okay. Alright, whatever. When he's summoned, he says, "Put your faith in the light," which everyone knows. And then there's like, "Da, da, 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 da." And then you're like, "God damn it, now I gotta deal with this Tyrion bitch." But yeah. Okay, so
gotta be creative, man. Gotta be creative.
The things I know about Tyrion, he's at the end of the Lich King lore because he's atop the Icecrown Citadel with you when you kill the Lich King. So I'm gonna go Argent Crusade, which I believe is true.
Mm-hmm.
He's a paladin because
you're right. 2 for 2.
He's in the paladin deck.
3 for 3 if we count his name. You got right.
Okay, Tyrion. Yep. Okay, 3 for 3. Okay, so look, the thing is, he's got this weapon called the Ashbringer.
Ooh, man.
The reason that he uses the Ashbringer is because
he's a smoker.
Because it does a lot of damage to things that are on fire. Or no, it sets things on fire and brings ash to them. It brings ash. And basically he's a paladin who, god damn it, I have no idea. He has divine shield and taunt, so he's like the guy in the front of the lines who's like, "Listen, I am your leader, and with Ashbringer we shall defeat the Lich King."
You're
and
right.
Then he goes and leads people, and with Ashbringer he dies, and Ashbringer is equipped to Uther Pendragon, who then attacks Rexar in the face for lethal. Right?
All right. Well, I mean that last part, I was like, he doesn't die. What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, he's describing Hearthstone to me really quick. I was like, all right, that's fine. All right. So there's a couple of things here, right? You got a majority of the important information about a cursory knowledge or understanding of who Tyrion Forging is.
Yes,
right? Okay,
winner.
So
One point for me.
What's important to note is that if we were going to talk about Tyrion, and when we were also going to talk about the Ashbringer, we would be here for like hours and just discussing stuff. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you a quick summary of the two of them, and then in the future date, if we bring up the Argent Crusade again and Silverhand, we can kind of talk about it a little bit later. But so pretty much, if you've been playing World of Warcraft for a while, you'll know that Tyrion Forging has been around since like vanilla. He actually was hanging out in the Eastern Plaguelands. He was like a level 61 elite quest giver, and you went to go kill some dogs and stuff. So the thing with this guy is that he was one of the first 5 Knights of the Silver Hand, which was like the elite paladin group, right? They were like the best paladins for the Alliance and stuff like that. He was a hero in the Second War. That's great. He was made a Lord of Mardenhold Keep in Hearthglen, and then something happened, and the thing that happened was that he was out on patrol one day, like by himself, right? Yeah, he was out on patrol, and he met with an old orc hermit called Eitrig, and they fought a little bit, and then one piece of the tower that they were fighting in fell, and it fell on Tyrion, and it knocked him out, and then when he came to, he was on his horse, tied to his saddle, being led away by his second in command, Barthalos, right? And so he's like, well, what the hell? He came to the conclusion that this orc must have saved him, right? And so then he struck out again to go and find this orc because he had some questions, right? He's like, well, why did this orc not kill me? Why did he save me? And so he meets up with them, and then the orc explains to him, he's like, orcs weren't always bloodthirsty bastards trying to kill everybody. Like, we used to be like a noble society, a warrior society rooted in shamanism and honor, right? And just like understanding and nature and great.
For the Horde!
A Disney movie, but with blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And then he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do you a solid." Tyrion said, "And I respect you, and this is great. Maybe I was wrong about your entire race, but let's just start with you. I'm gonna let you live here. I'm gonna tell everybody else that I killed you, and so they leave you alone, right?" So he goes back to where he stayed, to Hearthglen, right? And his second is like, I don't know about this. He seemed like, because he can kind of tell when he's lying, and also Barthalos wants him to be wrong so he can take over. And so then Barthalos heads out to go double check, finds Eitrig still alive, catches Eitrig, and then Tyrion shows up and defends Eitrig, right? He's like, you're not gonna kill this guy. He's a great orc and a great person, and you can't. You need to stop. And so then Barthalos, accuses him of treason, makes him stand trial, and all this stuff. And then this is back before Arthas became Arthas. And then Arthas, basically passes judgment during this trial that, he can't be part of the Knights of the Silver Hand and stuff anymore. He exiles him. Uther performs a ceremony to strip Tyrion of his powers and sent him home to gather some supplies. And then he leaves. And then he is sitting in the Eastern Plague Lands, right? And he's just like, I used to be a paladin and blah blah blah, and now I have nothing. So then all the stuff happens if you level, but definitely you know all about this, with the with Darian Mograine and stuff like that. And then he ends up getting Ashbringer, which is a legendary undead killing sword, which has its own story that I'm not gonna touch now because I'm already running too long. There's a lot to this, right? But if you did the Battle for Light's Hope Chapel stuff, that sort of that instance thing at the end of the Death Knight leveling, if you haven't done that already, you need to go see it. And then it makes sense as to he shows up and he's like, Arthas, you bastard, you need to die and stuff. And then Mograine's like, take Ashbringer, and Tyrion's like, wah, and they fight. And then he leads you in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion against him and stuff like that. And he currently runs the Argent Crusade, and he vows to bring back the Silver Hand, which were torn apart. Basically, Arthas was like, you guys need to go away before he called Stratholme the first time. And
yes,
that's it.
The calling of Stratholme. That I know. That's a dungeon.
That is a dungeon, and that's pretty basic knowledge about Arthas and Mal'Ganis and all that stuff. So yeah, that's a really, really short version of Tyrion. There's so much to this character. He's awesome.
Oh, I don't
He's
doubt
really
it.
great. He's really, really great.
Cool. Well, we have one more section that we're probably going to do. I don't think we're going to do it every week, but we'll do it on occasion because I like this section. It's fun. And this section is called This Week in Trade Chat. Basically, I sit in my garrison and I read trade chat, and if I see something that's funny or stupid, I put it in here, and then we talk about it.
Can we also throw in stuff from Elefar?
In
the future?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Because it's basically a glorified trade chat, but we can see each other.
Yeah. So if you don't know, back in the day, trade chat was basically a place where people would hang out and talk and bullshit about anything. Now it's kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. Sometimes people are talking about relevant things. Sometimes conversations just go off in tangents and people argue or whatever. It's basically like a bad Reddit. Anyway, this week in Trade Chat, if you want to play a human, go play Call of Duty. Chris?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is in reference to flying changes. Pays $60 for gorgeous landscapes. Complains he can't bypass it all.
No. I was trying to get your reaction on the Call of Duty line.
Nope, no. Because I defend playing humans in World of Warcraft. I thought we were going every other line.
God damn it.
I like playing humans, and people that don't like playing humans and don't understand why, it's because it's more relatable to me, and that's it. That's all I have to say. That's my piece.
Okay. And I want to point out that humans have one of the best PvP spells in the game. It's racial passive.
And also reputation gains are awesome.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares about reputation? Anyway, yes, the flying changes. Basically, there was a conversation going on about the flying changes, and this guy was all mad that he couldn't fly in Draenor because he was like, I bought this expansion, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody was like, pay $60 for gorgeous landscapes, complains he can't bypass it all. And I thought that was hilarious. And it basically sums up what the changes. This was a while ago when the changes were kind of heated discussion between
like up in the air.
What was going to happen, nobody really knew. And this guy was like, well, I bought this expansion, I should be able to fly, that was expected. And it's like, yeah, but, the new expansion is beautiful. It's like, this is the best expansion WoW's ever created as far as, visually goes. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty true, accurate, yeah. It's like, oh, well, I still can't fly. It's like, really? Really? Okay, anyway. Yeah, so we'll come back to this week in Trade Chat next week, I think. I got a couple more in here that I'll save for later.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right, so, and then this is the part of the show where we would go into our emails and stuff like that. And I asked our great fans over on the Leaguecast Facebook page. I gave them a couple of hours heads up, and we got an email. And I'm going to read that now. Hey guys, Snazzy here. I was looking forward to this podcast from you guys as I've been playing lots of Heroes of the Storm lately. Have you guys played it? What do you think of it since you have previous MOBA experience? So far,
what?
I am loving it. Yeah.
We have previous MOBA experience?
We do. Yeah.
If you don't know, we were part of this show called Leaguecast.
Yeah, and we've been playing League of Legends since it came out, basically. Yep. So, yeah, all right, so I think the question is kind of asking us to kind of like compare Heroes of the Storm to other MOBAs and like what we think about it, our opinions.
Okay. Well, I've only played 2. I've played League of Legends. I dabbled in Smite for a little bit, not very much. But the Blizzard release of Heroes of the Storm is it's very similar. Obviously, it's the same genre, so you have to expect that a lot of the play styles and things is going to be very similar.
Yeah.
One thing I really, really like about Heroes of the Storm is that you are never on the same map twice, and by that I mean there are more than one map. You're on the same map all the time, but there's more than one map, which is kind of cool. There are objectives as opposed to League of Legends, where it's just kill the Nexus, and it's more fun in like a time-killing kind of way. As far as the competitive scene goes, I don't think that Heroes of the Storm is necessarily balanced as well as it could be balanced. And if you're trying to play a serious MOBA, it's probably not at the top of the list. But
yeah,
it is definitely a lot of fun. I really enjoy playing Heroes of the Storm. It's just very similar to League of Legends, and it seems like it definitely needs some work before it gets to the point that League is at right now.
I am inclined to agree on a couple of fronts. If we're comparing it to other MOBAs, yes, all of the things that Matt Hillman said. Except I've played Dota. I played Dota 1 for years before League of Legends even came out, and I played Dota 2 a little bit when that came out. I played a little bit of Smite, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Played a lot of League of Legends, and I really enjoy Heroes of the Storm. The trick to enjoying Heroes of the Storm if you're a previous experienced MOBA player is to stop comparing it to other MOBAs, in my opinion, and treat it like its own sort of game, because that's what it really is. It is like League of Legends in that it's a MOBA, and that's about it. It is like Dota in that it's a MOBA, and that's about it. Same for all these other ones, right? It's just a lot of fun to play with friends. Just a lot of like the characters have really cute quips back and forth and stuff like that. Matt was saying it's fun objective based. It's great. It's a good party game. And if you really try, you feel like you're trying and your effort makes a difference. You don't ever feel like it's balanced enough. You know, it's more balanced than I would say probably Dota is. See, the funny thing is that Matt, you were saying that it's not balanced where it should be, and you don't think it's going to be as competitive as League of Legends is. But Dota 2 has a pretty competitive scene, and a lot of those guys are not. A lot of those heroes are not that balanced. You know what I mean? Like, there's people play like that all the time.
I haven't actually played a lot of Dota 2 or seen any of it, so I haven't really been following that. But I know there is
Yeah.
a very strong Dota 2 competitive scene. As far as not being balanced, I guess that's hard for me to say because I haven't gotten really to max level. I don't really have a good handle of Heroes of the Storm. I haven't played it as much as you have. But the main thing is that getting into Heroes of the Storm is, I feel, a lot more difficult if you're a competitive person than it is to get into League of Legends. If you walk into League of Legends and you say, okay, I'm going to play League of Legends and I want to level up to 30 and I want to win or whatever, and you have experience with MOBAs, it seems almost easier to do that than to get into Heroes of the Storm. The main reason I say that is because you don't unlock everything at level 1 when you're in Heroes of the Storm. With League of Legends, I guess you don't have summoner spells that are available until a certain level. But that seems meaningless as compared to the main focus of Heroes of the Storm, which is these level up, it's kind of like a skill tree system where you take skills instead of buying items and stuff. It gives you a lot less freedom when you're at level 1 because you only have 2 options every time you get to that breakpoint, that level breakpoint. Whereas if you were playing League of Legends and you knew what you were doing, you can buy the items that you need to buy and you can carry the game. You know
the counter argument is that helps introduce people, and there is a certain point in time because you also have an overall level for your accounts that when you get that up to, you unlock all of them for all the other characters. You don't have to meet minimum level requirements. Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really intelligent things in Heroes of the Storm that they did design-wise. It's Blizzard, of course they did, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah. So we'll talk more about Heroes of the Storm as we continue the show. We'll probably have some more in-depth stuff like that. I'm trying really hard to get to level 30 on my account so I can start doing some competitive play with, like, a ranked team and stuff like that.
There's, I think max is 40, right?
Yeah, but 30 is when you can start doing ranked.
Okay, cool.
So I'm excited about doing that. It's called Hero League, I believe, yeah. So yeah, there's that. If you guys want to send us an email, here's the new information for how to get in contact with us. There's also a new thing with this show, by the way. We have a new Google Voice number. We haven't done this on any of our other podcasts before. We're talking Volcast, we're talking Leaguecast, we're talking Casualcast. Back in the day, Slapdash, none of you guys know what that is, and thank God, because that
I know what
show...
that is.
Stop, Matt Hillman, no, please. Anyway, we have a Google Voice number, and you guys can call that and leave us a voicemail, and we'll play that on the show and treat it like it's an email, except we don't have to read it, because reading is hard.
Reading is hard.
So, I'm going to give you the traditional email first for those of you that are old-fashioned at home. It's thehearthshow@gmail.com. And the Google Voice number is 681-443-2784. Or, if you like little word things, it's 681-4-Hearth. Isn't that cool? It's
Wow.
cool. It's pretty neat.
681-4-Hearth.
It's cute. You can follow us on Twitter
That
and be
just
the...
warms my hearth.
Oh, that's cute too. You
Thanks.
can follow us on Twitter and be our first Twitter follower at Hearth Podcast, and then you can search for us on Facebook to like our brand new spanking Facebook page. And then for this show, we just did this thing the other day where we redid all of the Patreon pages and stuff for our other stuff, but we decided to keep the Hearth separate because we feel like there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with this show. And if you're not familiar with what Patreon is, it's a way for you to support projects that you like without actually having to pay for the actual thing. So this show is free. It's going to be free. It always will be. And so is our other stuff. And we set up a Patreon page specifically for this one that has some pretty cool stuff with it. It's a per episode setup and stuff like that. And so for example, if you pay $5 per episode, you get the episode 5 a day before release. At $10, you get a patron exclusive monthly video where we do an entire arena run and then like make fun of each other for our bad arena decisions and stuff like that. But you get to see how
Okay, so Chris will do an entire arena run, and we can make fun of him for his
right
bad decisions.
because I'm
Yeah,
absolute garbage. I'll be like Grim Patron in
Totally.
the Warlock deck, absolutely.
I know. I can Mortal Coil it. It's fine.
For our milestone goals, things like when we hit $25 an episode, we'll start streaming and putting up video archives of our episodes on YouTube and therefore also
Hey,
on
Chris.
our website. Yes.
These are a lot of words. Where can people read this if they wanted?
Oh, let me just tell them that.
Yeah.
You can look all of this stuff up for yourself. At patreon.com, that's patreon.com/the Hearth, and you can just read that stuff there. Yeah, I won't bore you anymore because I've talked a shit ton about paladins and crap this episode. So that's about
We
it.
talked a lot about paladins this episode.
I love paladins, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, paladins are okay.
But yeah, so we'll see you guys next week, and hopefully we'll have Frost, and we can do some more Hearthstone stuff for you guys. They were like, where was all the Hearthstone talk? Well, we mixed it up with Tyrion, I guess.
This was an hour of World of Warcraft.
That's fine. All right, so yeah, send you guys send your emails in, give us some voicemails if you want, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.